Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel. Here I am going to upload income from capital gain part 2. Part 1 under we already covered meaning of capital gain, types of capital gain, meaning of short-term capital gain, short-term capital loss meaning, long-term capital gain meaning, and meaning of long-term capital loss. Even though we covered capital asset meaning, difference between short-term capital gain and long-term capital gain, conditions, these all are we covered. Treatment of short-term capital gain or short-term capital assets, and we already covered financials assets. In case of financial assets, how to determine the short-term capital gain or short-term capital assets. Because under this concept, asset identification is very important one. Whether that asset is short-term capital asset or long-term capital asset, identification is very important one. Okay. So in case of non-financial assets, previous part under we already covered in case of financial asset. If asset is a financial asset, then if assessee held 12 months or more than 12 months, that asset should be long-term capital asset. Otherwise, that asset it only long-term capital, sorry, short-term capital asset. Then in case of non-financial assets, first of all, the example of non-financial asset are land and building, plant and machinery, furniture. These all are examples of non-financial assets. So here, non-financial under also they are classified into two types: movable property, immovable property. Immovable property ಗೆ identification rule ಬೇರೆ ಇದೆ, movable property ಗೆ identification rule ಬೇರೆ ಇದೆ. In case of immovable property, that means land and building or both. If it is immovable property held by assessee for not more than 24 months or before the date of its transfer, it is a short-term capital asset. Otherwise, that one is a long-term capital asset. So if a property is a immovable property, then 24 month is applicable. 24-month or less than 24 month, that immovable property is a short-term capital asset. Otherwise, long-term capital asset. What it? Then in case of movable property 36-month rule is applicable. If held by SSC for less than 36 months, will be classified as a short-term capital asset, or otherwise it will be classified as a long-term capital asset. Got it? Then method of computing long-term capital gain. So short-term capital asset. Assessee short-term capital asset ಅನ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ gain ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ they are calculated under the head of short-term capital gain. If assessee gained or sale any long-term capital asset, and if it is gained earned as something income, that one is calculated under the head of long-term capital gain. So this is a format of computing short-term capital gain. Usually Income Tax Act 1961 under section 48 under this format are mentioned. So this is a format of computing short-term capital gain. First of all, we have to take full value of consideration. That means is nothing but sales value. Sales value. So full value of consideration is nothing but sales value. If it is incurred any expenses in the time of sales, that expenses it should be deductible. Full value of consideration minus expenses incurred, that result is called as a net consideration, less cost of acquisition. Cost of acquisition is nothing but purchase cost, less cost of improvement. After deducted cost of acquisition and cost of improvement, that result is called as a gross short-term capital gain. Short-term capital gain under some exemptions are applicable. Then exemptions and less ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the final result is called as a net short-term capital gain. Example, this is one of the example of computing short-term capital gain. Under this case, there are two cases are provide. The first case under he purchased listed shares. The second case under he purchased golden necklace. So time date on 16/4/2020 he purchased listed shares. Listed share means it is a financial asset. 12-month rule is applicable. If it is mentioned unlisted, then 24-month rule is applicable. Got it? Then in the time of that he purchased 95,000 he purchase ಮಾಡಿದಾನೆ and 2/3/2021 he sold 1,35,000 that listed shares. In that between that transfer he paid brokerage being rupee 1,200. So we know already this is a format of computing short-term capital gain. So computation of short-term capital gain of Mr. Anand Kumar for the assessment year 2021-22. In case of listed shares, so before going to compute, we have to identify that asset is a short-term capital asset or long-term capital asset. So 16/4/2022, 2/3/2021 andre it is a less than 12 months. So this listed share is a short-term capital asset itself. Here we require two column, particular and amount column. Full value of consideration. Full value of consideration is nothing but sales value. Listed share ಎಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ that sales value is the full value of consideration. 1,35,000 less expenses. Brokerage expenses are given 1,200. 1,35,000 minus 1,200. Net consideration amount here 1,33,800. Less cost of acquisition. Cost of acquisition is nothing but purchase cost. So listed shares they are purchased in the rupee of 95,000. 1,33,800 minus 95,000. This gain is a taxable. Short-term capital gain 38,800. Next case under he purchased golden necklace. Golden necklace. Golden necklace is a non-financial asset. It was held for 24 months, less than 36 months. So it is a short-term capital asset, resulting in short-term capital gain. So this necklace was sold out 1,85,000. There is no expenses are incurred in this case. Net consideration 1,85,000 itself, less cost of acquisition 1,50,000. I already told cost of acquisition means purchase cost. So short-term capital gain 35,000 itself. ಸೊ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಗೇನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ. ಈ ತರ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಗೇನ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಗೇನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ ಒನ್. One more example it is. Here some informations are given. The first here also be there are two cases are given. He had listed shares of face value of rupee 3 lakh of a limited company which were purchased for rupee 3,88,500 in May 2020. He sold them for rupee 5 lakh in February 2020 and also paid brokerage at 1% on the face value of the shares. So this is for your case 1. Case 2, on 31st December 2020, he sold his personal car for rupee 1,20,000 which was purchased in August 2008 for rupee 2,20,000. Compute the capital gain for the assessment year 2021-22. So case 1 under he purchased and sold out listed shares only. Full value of consideration here 5 lakh less expenses 1% on face value. Here face value is rupee 3 lakh. They are given no face value. 1% on 3 lakh means 3,000. 5 lakh minus 3,000 net consideration 4,97,000 less cost of acquisition means purchase cost 3,88,500. Here there is no information regarding cost of improvement. So under this case, uh, short-term capital gain 1,08,500. Case 2. Case 2 under the car, and they are specifically mentioned personal car. ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಇಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸೋಲ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಬಲ್. ಸೊ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಕಾರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಇಫೆಕ್ಟ್, ಸೊ ನಾಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಬಲ್ ಒನ್, not taxable one. So this is all about your way for computing short-term capital gain. Thank you for watching.